And we begin this hour in Limpopo, where President Cyril Ramaphosa will officially launch the country's third law enforcement authority. The Border Management Authority will be responsible for coordinating and securing all border operations. Newzroom Afrika's Ziniko Mhlaba is part of our team in Musina and joins us now live in the build-up to this particular launch. And many might say it's been the brainchild, perhaps not brainchild, but it's certainly been an initiative that's been pushed by Home Affairs Minister for quite some time, Ziniko, given the criticism he's faced or the pressure he's faced to make sure that the country's borders are safe.
Yes, and actually, if we can just give you a bit of background, it's been in the making for the past 10 years, and of course, under the stewardship of the Department of Home Affairs, which is led by the current Minister of Home Affairs, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi. So we're going to speak to him in a moment, so that give us context in terms of how and what it has taken for government to get to where we are. Actually, he joins me now, Home Affairs Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi. It's been long coming, it's been the pipeline. It's almost 10 years now when Cabinet actually approved the Border Management Act. Talk to us about the process it has taken to get us where we are right now. But most importantly, that issue of capacitating the authority itself in terms of resources. How much resources are there readily available?
Yeah, indeed. It's not Cabinet, actually. It's Parliament that took 10 years going through the processes of passing this act of the Border Management Authority, but at long last it's there anyway. And in November 2021, we started establishing it by appointing the commissioner and the 2 deputy commissioners. And from the 1st of April, it is now a standalone. When we established it, it was incubated in the Department of Home Affairs as a branch, meaning the commissioner had the same status as the deputy director general in government. But now he's a fully-fledged commissioner from the 1st of April. And what does that mean? It means all the people who were at the border doing the work of health. Many people did not know that we've got health people at the border. They started seeing during COVID. The people who checked whether you must come in, you have got a COVID certificate, or whether you've been immunized, or whether you're running a temperature. They do that all the time with many other diseases. They have now been taken from health to be incorporated in Border Management Authority. Same as agriculture, land affairs and rural development. People who are at the borders to see which agricultural goods are allowed in and out have now been taken from agriculture into the Border Management Authority. And the same as environment, forestry and fishery. People who are checking fauna and flora, what you call fauna and flora, wild animals and plants, whether they are allowed in or not, they are now part of the Border Management Authority. From Home Affairs, immigration officers, people who check your passports, whether you are allowed to come in or not, visas and all that, they've now been taken from Home Affairs into the Border Management Authority. And that's why we say from the 1st of April, it's now a standalone entity. Then new entrants who were never there before are the border guards, who we deployed for the first time on the 14th of July last year, 200 of them. Now today, because when the president launched, we're going to introduce another cohort of 400 new border guards, so that will be having a complement of 600. Of course, that is still not enough number. So what we do, because that's a very valuable resource, border guards, but they are fewer. So what we did, we took the borderline. The borderline in South Africa is 4,772 kilometers long. We divided it into 10 segments, and we only deploy them to the segments that are very vulnerable. Just to give you an example, the segment between South Africa and Botswana is the longest, it's 1,500 kilometers. But we haven't deployed anybody there, simply because we didn't experience any problem whatsoever. The next segment is between us and Namibia. It's 950 kilometers long. We also haven't deployed anybody because we haven't experienced any problem. The segment between South Africa and Zimbabwe is one of the smallest. It's only 240 kilometers. But that's where we deployed a majority of border guards. Also, the segment called Mangusi in KZN, from the corner of Eswatini to the Indian Ocean, that segment into Mozambique is only 76 kilometers.
So, Minister, sorry to cut you, Minister. Talk to us about the credibility and the profile of the agents who you are referring to, who have this huge responsibility now of guarding the border. As we know, we've been having stand-up members, we've been having SA Police Service. So talk to us about the credibility of the border guards themselves in terms of being prone to corruption, in terms of actually ensuring that they won't be vulnerable to corruption, because we've seen previously the issue of corruption has been mentioned several times.
Well, corruption is always taken into consideration when you appoint people. Firstly, they were selected in a process that was very stringent. Secondly, during their training, they are trained in ethics, but you can't say that is enough, because people who steal is not because they don't know ethics. They just do that because they believe nothing is going to happen to them. So in this case, none of the border guards have been hired without doing a lifestyle audit. Yes, before doing a lifestyle audit to them, we have done so, which means we know their assets, the basis of their assets, and we'll repeat that frequently. And if the assets increase, they must increase in terms of your income. You need to tell us why suddenly you own certain things which are not in keeping with your salary. So we are going to keep on doing that. But also, you put up structures that discourages this type of behavior or stealing. Like you use technology, which we were not using that much before. And I'm sure you have heard last month when you announced that the 6 busiest ports of entry, which means that's where most of the corruption is, because they are the busiest, are going to be redeveloped. That infrastructure redevelopment, you actually take into consideration issues of corruption. Just to give you an example, at the moment, when the trucks go through our borders, they are checked via what we call a risk profile. That means you look at the trucks and say, this one can pass. That one, you know what the traffic cops do on the road. They don't stop every car. And you wonder which one, they choose. It's not a very good method. So what we are going to do, we are going to do a drive-in X-ray. Not X-ray, gamma ray, because X-ray is now obsolete. A gamma ray. Gamma ray is an instrument that can look inside and see anything that is solid, but it can also see even liquor, even paper money. Now,
just quickly, Minister, in a minute we'll run out of time. What can we expect today in terms of, we said report that there will be some interaction between President Ramaphosa and Nangongwa. Is that still the case in terms of the program? Just a minute.
Well, according to the profile, the program, yes, Mnangagwa said is going to come, but it's not going to come to the event. It's coming to the border. The president is going at the border to do some inspection. That's where they will meet, because he told the president that they are thinking about this issue of rebuilding the bridge itself, which is, I think, is a very, very important project. They are going to be discussing that.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's Minister of Home Affairs here in South Africa, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, giving us insights in terms of the profile, the credibility and the capacity of the border guards, also mentioning that there might be a possibility that the President of Zimbabwe, Mr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, might join the President along the border in 2 hours' time. That's it, Ayanda, from us for now. Back to you.
Ziniko Mhlaba, like to us there from Musina in Limpopo. For now, Ziniko, thanks very much indeed.